This week, we're in Washington, D.C., home of the largest police force in the universe. We got to see the Vice President's car drive by, along with 50 other cars in a row. We got to experience the big city, which is what Lucas has been dying to do. And he has discovered it's too much walking.
And people.
Yeah, we walked everywhere. There were people everywhere. But honestly, probably the nicest city I've ever been to, like clean, safe-wise.
Yeah. We were all really excited for DC. Harper and Thea's birthdays are only 8 days apart, and so we celebrated both of their birthdays while we were there. But also, Mama and Papa came to visit, Clint's parents, so the kids were super excited to see them. They've missed them. We hadn't seen them in, 2 months, I guess. We celebrated their birthdays separately. For Theo's morning of his birthday, we got up and we did breakfast, and that was before Mama and Papa had gotten there, and we celebrated just with us.
It's Theo's birthday. Sarah's making some cinnamon rolls.
I started making cinnamon rolls, but then I remembered how much he likes French toast. So I'm going to take these cinnamon rolls and make them up and put them in the freezer for Harper's birthday, which is in 8 days, because she loves cinnamon rolls a lot. And then I'm going to make French toast this morning for little Thea Bear. But I'm already started, so we're baking.
Some small presents. And then we have bigger presents for when the grandparents get here.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Baba!
Hey, Thea! Happy birthday to you!
Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, dear Theo! Happy birthday to you! He said, don't look at me!
Can you blow it? Blow it. The night that Mama and Papa got there, we did a little birthday party for him.
Happy birthday to you!
Harper requested that they have separate birthdays, so a few days later, we had her party. She loved that and loved everything that she got. And then the morning of her actual birthday, she got cinnamon rolls, which is kind of like a tradition for us to have birthday breakfast.
Happy birthday, dear Harper. Happy birthday to you.
We stayed at Cherry Hill Park, which was an incredibly nice park. Highly recommended by a lot of people if you're a tourist, because they've got classes that Sarah took to teach you how to ride the rails.
And it was like a 30-45 minute class, but it was amazing. Wonderful information. And free. But they also have like a metro bus stop, public transit bus stop at the park if you wanted to do that.
It was a really nice park. We had a great spot.
Yeah, we were right across from the playground and right down from the pool, which was freezing, and right by the dog park. So we were like central to everything that, we wanted to do at the park.
And if you do laundry, it's like a laundromat style laundry room there. Huge.
Yeah. And of course that was the week that I didn't do laundry, and then the next place that we got to had no laundry at all. So that was a good choice by me. Our first full day in DC, we went to Mount Vernon, so not technically DC, but we went down to Mount Vernon to George Washington's home, and we toured his house and grounds and everything, and that was it was pretty cool. We always loved to see like how people lived and how they did things back in the day, especially before any kind of electricity or anything.
And it's so beautiful. I would have quit being president and just moved back there. I don't know what George was thinking, but he should have just called it quits.
We did pay extra to tour the house, too.
Pace it out. Your little one, Theo, couldn't make it through the house. That afternoon, me and Lucas, Mama, and Papa went to see the Baltimore Orioles game. So we pulled for the Orioles because Adam Frazier, Mississippi State guy, plays for them. So he did get a hit, so it was great. And Lucas loved it. Baseball games are awesome. The stadiums are worth going to. It was a great time, and that stadium in particular is right off of the main road. Pretty easy to park if you want to go to the game there.
So on the subject of public transit, like I said, I did the class there at Cherry Hill, and the information that they gave was, hey, if you want to take the bus here, it was going to take you like an extra 30 minutes than if you were to just drive to the first rail station. What do you call those? Is that a train? Is that a metro? I mean,
Just
what
say
is
the
that?
metro. I don't know.
They call it the rail, I guess.
It's like a train above the ground. I don't know.
Well, it goes underground too.
It goes underground. It does go under.
Yeah.
It was underground a lot.
Yeah, it was. So I'm wondering if it's called the subway.
I don't know.
Anyways,
Maybe it is a sub. Maybe it's a sub-airway. Sub-airway.
So we drove our truck to the College Park station. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but our truck is
Huge.
Our truck is really big. You know, we've measured it. We don't fit in most
Parking garages.
parking garages, and we have a long bed. So we don't fit in any regular length spaces. So we went to the parking garage. We did fit in this one. They told us the clearance. The clearance there was 8 foot 2 inches. Most people, you know, unless you have a rack on top of your vehicle, will probably make it in a truck. So we went there, and we just went up high. Like, I think it's 4 levels. We went up to the 3rd floor. There was no one on the 3rd floor. We parked up there. We parked in the corner. Clint's parents were there, too, so they parked in a spot, and we kind of blocked them in, and it was perfect.
Also, we went during the week
Yeah.
when it should have been crowded. I mean,
Because everybody works.
Right, and the parking garage was almost empty other than the bottom 2 floors.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll find a spot if you go there.
Yeah. So we got cards for the Metro at Cherry Hill Park. They sell them there. We got as much as they recommended. I think she recommended for 2 days a regular card. I think $10 is what we put on them. Clint's parents got senior cards, which they basically get everything half off. So they got like $5. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So it doesn't cost very much to get around. You know, like I said, we did 2 days. We had like 50 cents left on the cards, I think. We paid for the parking, though, in the parking garage with our card. You got a discount for paying, so we did that. And we got on the subway, and that was a really neat experience. I will say, you know, it was clean. Everything was very clean. We did end up several times getting on and sitting down right next to someone.
Sleeping homeless people.
Yeah, so...
We have a real knack for choosing the buses because you can't see them.
Yeah. So we kept getting on cars and sitting right by people who were sleeping, you know, which was a little unsettling with the kids, but we just minded our own business and everything was fine.
I was nervous about the subway just because I don't know what to expect. You hear horror stories, which I'm sure are rare, but it was perfectly fine. Plus, I think we were usually in traffic with everybody working, so it seemed normal.
There was honestly kids on it. Like, we caught a couple of kids, I think, going maybe to and from school and stuff. And, I mean, kids by themselves riding it, so.
Also, every station except for, I think, one, and one that we went to the wrong station, had elevators.
Oh,
so if you have a stroller, or they have escalators. So if you have little kids, still easy to get around.
Yeah.
We never had any issue with the stroller in the train either, in the subway.
Yeah.
So that was great.
The class that we took at Cherry Hill taught us how to ride the public transit system. We had no idea. We didn't know how this line and that line worked and all that. And I'm not going to go into all that here. If you are curious, you do need information, you know, let us know and I will gladly help you. We had a fine time. We never got lost. No, we got lost one time. But it was like a 2-minute lost on the street. So we were fine.
There's honestly so many monuments and buildings that are like highly recognizable that you almost can't get lost because you can just see it in the distance.
And the one time that we did, we were looking for the rail station, the subway station. There was an elevator to go down. We could see the station, but we were looking for the elevator to go down, and it was separate from the station, like from the sign or whatever. And we went to go up the Amtrak, I think it was, instead, and someone stopped us. Like 2 people actually stopped us and said, "Hey, do you need help?" And at first we thought we knew where we were going, so we're like, oh no, we're fine. And then we didn't. And then so there was a homeless guy sitting there talking to people, and I asked him, I said, hey, I'm looking for the elevator. And he said, oh yeah, it's right over there. So, worked
We
out.
should have taken that lady up. Thank you, lady, for offering.
Yeah. So after we got there on the first day, we went to the Museum of Natural History. We got off of the subway, and we had like a 3 or 4 block walk. I think it wasn't too bad, and we did that. I think the kids need a break from natural history museums, so it stunk that it was in DC that we realized that, but they've had enough for a little while. Harper said, I'm tired of fossils. So, but it was, obviously, it was an amazing museum. There was great
cool
stuff. And if you don't know, it's a Smithsonian museum. There are a ton of Smithsonian museums in Washington, D.C., and they're all free. When we went there, we found the bus for the big bus tour. We bought tickets for the big bus tour for the 2 days that we were going to be in the city. When you look at the ticket prices, they're around $60 a piece for adults. We have T-Mobile home internet and got a discount through their program. And if you need more information about that, let me know, because it's super easy. But we paid around $40 for adults, and then it was like $35 for kids or something like that for 2 days. And we got to ride on the buses, which, you're paying more for it, but it beat, public transit all around the city, or walking all that way.
Later that day, we went to the White House, which we couldn't get a tour of the White House, but the kids wanted to see it anyway. And it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, was a little creepy, like a movie, because there was South Korean flags everywhere. I guess the president was visiting.
Heightened security, and
Yeah,
a lot
so
of people
there was-
talking in earpieces and clearing roadways and stuff.
It looked like a movie scene out there. So
It was pretty neat.
It was cool though, yeah.
We waited with anticipation to see what was happening, and then finally the motorcade came in, and so that was pretty neat.
We got to see the vice president's motorcade, and it was pretty crazy how quickly it went from busy to the police shutting down the street in
The entire
seconds.
street, yeah, everywhere.
Super cool to see.
Yeah.
Plus, especially for the kids,
Yeah.
to see something like that was awesome.
On our first day in the city, we ate at And Pizza, which is like ampersand pizza, and it was so good. So
It was amazing.
yeah, I looked and looked, and there were tons of options for dairy-free places for Harper, but we had to stick to a path for the big bus tour. We wanted to stay on their path, and we didn't want to do too much walking. Pushing Theo in the stroller and the kids and everything, and we had to find things relatively on our route, and Pizza was, and I'm so glad that we chose it because it was so good. It's one of those places where like you do like your individual pizza and choose your toppings and stuff, and I think a couple of us shared, and we got some garlic knots, which were so good. But we went like at lunchtime, had to order special for Harper. They accidentally cut her pizza with a knife that had been used to cut pizzas with cheese, so then they had to rebake the whole thing. But they were super nice in there, and during lunchtime they got people through real quick, so we enjoyed that. We sat outside and ate, and it was nice.
I think that was a theme also, is that I think they're so used to serving large lunch crowds that it seemed like it was real quick everywhere we ate.
After lunch, we headed over to the National Mall to see all of the monuments.
Also, I feel like I should clarify for people like me, it's not a real mall. I thought it was going to be a mall. It's like just open air.
Oh, yeah.
So not a mall.
No shopping, though.
Yeah, no shopping. So I was pleasantly
It's all of the
surprised.
monuments. So we were especially interested in the Washington Monument. Lucas has been saying that he was dying to see it, so he really enjoyed seeing that. And that thing is huge. Like, you always see the pictures, like, with the reflecting pool, and you're like, oh, no. It's, like, on a hill and huge. So that was kind of neat to see up close and personal.
Especially when you can look across. I think from the Capitol, you can't really look across very well, but from the monument, you can look all the way across to the Capitol, and it's beautiful.
I think at the monument, we could see, the White House, the Capitol, and
the Lincoln
the
Memorial.
Lincoln Memorial. We walked down past the reflecting pool and went over to the Lincoln Memorial, and that was my favorite. It was kind of neat because I made the kids get out a penny, and I showed them, and I was like, do you know what that is? I was like, look, and they're like, oh, cool. We rode the elevators up because we had the stroller and all, and you like walk out of the elevator, and it's huge. and it's gorgeous. It was like, and just even the sound of like the echoey, I don't know. It was a moment for me. It was neat. These things that you've seen and heard, and but you've never seen yourself.
And they have it's real quiet too. They ask for like silence up there, so it's even more like.
Yeah, a lot of the memorials had signs up, to try to be respectful and be quiet and stuff like that, which the kids were really good with. So.
But yeah, I think you could sit on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial just staring out for a long time.
Yeah.
It was beautiful over there.
Yeah, I enjoyed walking around. I walked all the way around to the front just to see, what was up there and all, and it was by myself, and it was kind of neat.
Being by yourself or seeing the front?
So we were pretty excited, having conquered our first day of public transit in Washington, D.C. So the next day we got up and did the same thing, went to the parking garage, parked, got on the subway, and rode. We were headed to the zoo. So this is the National Zoo. It's also a Smithsonian. It was free. If you're going to the zoo, do not take the zoo stop off of the subway. Go to the next station, because everything around the zoo is on a hill. So we went to the stop past the zoo, got off, and walked downhill to the zoo. And then killed ourselves rushing through the zoo because we had somewhere to be. And then we walked downhill again to the next stop, which would have been the first one on our way. Being complete newbies to the public transit and all that, we made lots of stops here and there. The only thing that we didn't do was ride any buses. We did not ride the buses because we had paid for the big bus tour.
The zoo was pretty cool. Honestly, much like the natural history museums, our kids are getting burnt out on anything indoors or contained in confinements, so they're over the zoo. I think Lucas said, once you've seen two, you've seen them all. Which is like something I would say.
And which is crazy too, because I have a top 10 list of zoos that we want to do around the country, because Clint and I love zoos.
Oh my gosh, I would live at zoo. I'm like a little kid if it comes to zoos. So there was a sea lion that chased a bottle, and that was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was neat.
It had like 3 or 4 entrances too, didn't it?
Yeah, different.
So, and we, for some reason, I don't know if it's where we stopped, but our entrance was like at the bottom. So to see the whole thing, you're going uphill the entire time. And then by the time you get to the end, you're so tired, it felt like coming uphill back.
Yeah. That probably skewed our experience a little bit.
Yeah, it was exhausting.
We had tickets for another museum later at a certain time, and we were running late, because we're always running late, so it just, yeah. There is parking at the zoo. However, we didn't do it because it's, limited, and we didn't want to get there and the truck not fit. So you can do parking. You do need to reserve it in advance, and it's $30 to be able to park there for the day. So after the zoo, we walked back to the subway station and went to a station somewhere near the White House again, I remember, to eat at District Taco, which was also really good. Think like Moe's, Chipotle, whatever, but really good.
Very, very good.
Yeah. Get all the things on it. It's worth it. It's good. And was also easy to customize for Harper for her to be able to eat dairy-free.
The reason we rushed at the zoo was because we also had tickets that day to the Bible Museum. I think we're all pretty excited about that. We've never been, obviously. We've heard a lot of good things about it, so that's why we rushed. And it was really cool. I think it was 4 stories worth of... Was it 5?
It might have been 6 stories and 5 that you can tour or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It had some real short little films you could watch about it. It had a section where it was like you're literally walking through a city street back then. And then I think the craziest thing, there's this room where it shows you all of the languages of the world and how many have Bibles. And the amount of languages that don't even have a translation is unbelievable. Plus they had a lot of old manuscripts, so our kids, Lucas in particular, is really interested in a lot of that stuff, so it was really cool to see all that.
However, for the price that we paid and for our demographics, the age of the kids, Theo slept the whole time.
Yes.
Harper had no interest. Lucas was mildly interested in certain pieces. I could have stopped and read everything. Clint could have. His parents could have. Probably better for an older crowd or adults, in our opinion. Especially for the price that you pay. I don't remember what we paid, but I think for all of us, there were 7 of us. I think we paid at least $100. So
Once Mama and Papa left, then we just enjoyed the park. And it was a good park. Kids swam in the swimming pool, despite it being unsafe to do so, I think. But it was open.
It was cold.
Yes, they had a splash pad, which was really cool, and there was no one at it. I don't know why.
Because it was cold.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, our kids are crazy. So, but Theo loved it. And then they have dog parks, which I don't know how many of y'all care about those, but
we love
the
them.
joy that comes over your dog when they get off of that leash is amazing.
Yeah,
so,
I think Jack, our bigger dog, like he's like, I'm home. There's a fence to keep me contained. I can protect this area. Throw me a ball, and he loves it.
Yeah.
You know, they played for a long time one day in there.
Yeah, so that was cool. And they have a walking trail, which is oddly, it's right on the road. So you hear cars the entire time. But they've put it in such a way that it feels like you're in the middle of the woods. So I did a lot of walking on that thing. It was awesome.
We wanted to do the International Spy Museum. And like we were pretty excited to do it. We've heard good things about it. It did cost, I don't remember the cost, but you know, we're trying to do as much free and cheap stuff as we can because we're constantly traveling and we can't live in a vacation state all the time. But we were supposed to go that Saturday. Friday night the kids were like, can we not go to the city? I was like, wait, what? And they were like, well, we're just, you know, can we just hang out around the park? So that's what we did. We hung out around the park, and that's when we did the pool day and the splash pad and all, and just got ready for our travel day on Sunday. But I wish we would have gone. I do. So if we ever go back to Washington, D.C., we are staying at Cherry Hill Park again because we really liked it. It's a little bit more than we typically would spend places, but it was really nice, and you know, the amenities were really nice, and so we would stay there again in a heartbeat. The closeness to the city, the closeness to everything, the ease of, you know, all of it, and do the International Spy Museum.
Also, this week, if it sounds like it was a lot, it was, but I took off. So this week was like a vacation.
Yeah.
Normally, we would have had trouble fitting in
Yeah.
everything we did.
Yeah. Clint's parents,
on a
you know,
normal
they
weekend.
came, so he took a few days off. So yeah, we're not living in a constant state of vacation all the time. And we would check way in advance in order to get that White House tour. Clint's parents did look into it in advance, but apparently it was, I think because of the South Korean president or something, they weren't something. But if we would have checked, you know, further in advance, we might have been able to get tickets or a tour. And that was something Lucas really wanted to do. So if we do it again, Lucas has already made me promise that we could tour the White House.